Orchestra, Orchestra, simple math. Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. Red sweater, Manchester Orchestra, simple math, flex your head, jar of water. It's time for an album review. Manchester Orchestra is a Georgia band, and this is their latest LP, Simple Math. And these guys play a style of rock music I could only really call indie rock. Not necessarily because these guys are difficult to pin down, but they so willingly pen themselves within that style of music. And I know indie rock is a really broad term, but Manchester Orchestra kind of makes me nostalgic for a time when I used to listen to Death Cab for Cutie and Bright Eyes and Dismemberment Plan and a little bit of Built to Spill, a little bit of Wilco, Granddaddy, Modest Mouse. You know, a time when listening to underground music got you called emo instead of hipster, like today. Now, even though indie is a broad term, all of those bands I mentioned are a good representation of the style of music these guys try to recreate. The band's last album was a little bit cleaner, a little more produced than the previous one, I'm Like a Virgin Losing a Child. But Manchester Orchestra still maintained their passion and energy as a rock band. Simple Math is where I'm starting to wonder if they really have that anymore. Maybe indie rock just isn't what it used to be, or just this style of it. I kind of feel like its wrinkles are showing. There are flashes here of Manchester Orchestra's past, like on the track Pensacola, which comes together like a really strong, catchy power pop tune, a lot of downstroke guitars, fun group choruses, great lyrics and melodies, and a really triumphant horn part at the end. But a lot of these tracks here suffer from, I don't know, a lack of modesty, maybe a little bit too much ambition or something. I guess I like my indie rock to be a little bit more earnest or down to earth. So many songs here are just slathered in strings and booming guitars and this false sense of drama. There are some spots here where I do connect a lot of passion with the building instrumentation, like on the end of the title track here, which doesn't really drown itself out in these extra louder sounds. The song kind of progresses into those sounds, and once it gets to those sounds, the climax is pretty moving. But I'm left kind of underwhelmed by most of what's going on here. Mighty, April Fool, Virgin, Pale Black Eye. Those tracks to me are too wrapped up in either how loud they are, how stylistically different they are from the album, because I hear some like 90s alternative rock riffs in there, or they're wrapped up in their extra instrumentation to the point where I'm just not really hearing an interesting song or an interesting style. Just kind of this relative heaviness. At this point in their career, I just kind of feel like Manchester Orchestra is merely working with indie rock's most accessible aspects and then layering strings and horns over it. They've basically taken everything out of indie rock that was so groundbreaking in the first place, which kind of makes it a very unmemorable record for me. There's some decent tunes here and there, but I do not see myself returning to this, like, ever. I'm kind of feeling a strong 4 to a light 5 on this album. I could see why it's getting popular, I could see why people are digging it, but it's not for me. But what do you think of this thing? Love it? Hate it? Why? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Manchester Orchestra, forever.